Hey, this is Jeff Thorne. I am the writer, producer, showrunner of the upcoming Avengers Black Panther's Quest TV series, and you are listening to A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live.
It's time. Talk time. Let's go. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Live. Started in the 80s with Matt Cross. Dudes in the hood might have called that soft, but I carried that cross like Jesus did. Fast forward, I teach the kids to learn how to let go, live life, and show love to all things that don't matter where y'all from. And luckily, there's a show called Talk Time. We've been waiting for this for a long time. Dax kicks the facts on all the geek news, special guests and unbiased reviews. Suburban kids, the hipster street dudes, all can learn something new. Me too. I heard words when no faith is empty. I stayed the course so my haters tempt me. Beat the podcast, that'll make them envy. It ain't too trendy, it's A.C.M.G. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Anime, comics, movies, and games. Come on and let's get it. Talk time. Live.
Gentlemen, welcome back. This is A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live, the Prime Show. I am your host, Xavier Josiah. Welcome back. I hope everybody's having a great week. We got a lot of news to talk about, and in our talk topic of the week, we're going to talk about a movie that was literally over 20 years in the making, probably the longest project focused on since Spider-Man, and that is Battle Angel Alita, a movie James Cameron has been dying to come out with for so long. It's finally here. He finally had a chance to do it, along with some other great talents to help put this together. Did it measure up to his expectations as well as fans' expectations? We'll talk about that more in our talk topic this week. But for now, we got a lot of news to talk about, so we're going to go into our next segment. Before I do that, I just want to point out that I finally got a chance to beat Jump Force, the new Bandai game, which I rated it a B. If you guys want to know fully what I thought about it, go back to our Select Start video game podcast as I give you in great detail why it got that grade. But that grade still remains. I beat the game. It's really not easy, I'm going to tell you that. And the final boss battle, and if you haven't beat this game yet and you don't want to be spoiled, I do recommend fast forwarding this right now because I'm going to say something in regards to this. But there's a final boss in this mode. I won't even say the name of the final boss, but if you want, the deal is, if you want to, I'm not going to talk about the story, but if you want to learn how to beat that boss, because this is not an easy game, what I've discovered is that the gameplay is very brutal, but it's not impossible. They forced you to try to find better ways to beat the characters. The AI is really stiff. So you have to find a more innovative way. You can't go in at it the same way. And it really does help out that you try to figure out and brainstorm it. It really started to feel like an actual manga or anime situation where you're getting totally pummeled by this uberly strong character, and you have to beat the odds. And that's exactly what they made you feel. So in essence, in some sense, actually, it is sort of kind of like an action. They did give you the actual feel of the game. This is not like a casual go in and play game, at least not for the storyline portion. You really do have to go in there and beat the odds. So you got to really think of how to beat this character. So there are people there are mixed reactions about the game, and there's a lot to be said. The game has a lot of smoke and mirrors, as I mentioned, but it is a fun game to play. If you're not a fan of that type of fighting or melee fighting or whatever, it's not for you, and that's okay. But, there is a crowd of people that likes this. This is not Tekken. If you're looking for Tekken coming in here, you're fooling only yourself, and you're getting mad only at yourself for jumping in there, knowing that. So, that is what it is. But the final boss is extremely challenging and hard, and if he touches you, guaranteed, you're going to lose a lot of energy, and he will take you out very quickly. I don't know what level he is, but I've made it up to level 53, actually, not 30. I made it to level 53, and that was still not enough to like really beat this guy, hand to hand. It was just, I couldn't even touch that dude barely. And if he does, he counters you all the time. I don't know what got in me, but I went into Ultra Instinct mode and managed to beat him with a perfect. Now, granted, that was after like 25, 30 times of facing him, and me, like, I'm just not stopping, and all of a sudden I just got into the mode, and all of a sudden I beat him. Well, if you are having trouble beating that character, and if you're playing that character right now, you're having trouble, you know the name of the character. I won't spoil it, of course, because of the fact that there's a cliffhanger in the storyline that you gotta really check out, but the final boss is gonna be a bitch. And I'm going to tell you this, they will strip you of all of your abilities, so you're going to be assed out of doing that. So there's a way of beating them. If you want to know, you go into TalkTimeLive.com and check out the video that I posted out there on how to beat him. It's just a match. It's not the story or anything, because they block you off from doing that. Unless you have special, equipment to override that. Or a PC or whatever. I don't know how they're doing it actually, but there's a way to beat him. You just got to be very consistent. It's more of a reach. It's kind of a reach game. It's a reach and distance game. You got to play it in the same way that you would fight in a mixed martial arts fight. You got to really know. You got to measure your distance and know when to jump in. So it's a close call, but I managed to finally beat him after like multiple times and beat him on the perfect. So there is a way to beat him. You just got to be consistent. Go on to TalkTimeLive.com. The video is up there. If you go to my Instagram page at Xavier Josiah, you can find it there. That's DaxAvierJosiah on Instagram. You can check that out. If you're an A.C.M.G member, you probably already saw it because I posted on there as well. So it'll be a great help for people to learn how to actually get this dude, because it's kind of very simple when you think about it, but it's not easy to get to him, because again, if he touches you, you're done. So just wanted to let you people know about that there. And the final story, pretty good. I gotta admit, I liked what they did with the final story. So I think as a fan, I think people will enjoy that portion of it. So that is all I'm going to say for that. But right now, let's go into our next segment and find out what's new in the world of A.C.M.G.
And now it's time to find out what's new in the world of A.C.M.G.
All right, so we're going to continue where we left off last week in the discussion of the Vic Mignogna allegations and such. Some new developments have come as Vic Mignogna himself made another statement on February 13th at about 8:16 p.m. on Twitter. Vic has made a statement regarding his allegations, which states the following. I'll read it to you. My desire has always been to show appreciation, warmth, and acceptance to fans of my work. Being part of this community has given both my work and my life so much meaning. If anyone has been made uncomfortable by me, it's not for me to contradict them. It's impossible for me to discern another's personal boundaries. I regret anything I have said or done out of ignorance that put anyone outside of their comfort zone. I love my work dearly, as well as the characters I had the privilege to portray, but most satisfying of all has been the opportunity to share that love of this art form with fans all around the world. I would never have met anyone. I would not have met any one of you without it. Meeting each of you has been enriched with my life, and I am humbled to have received over 1,000 encouraging messages in the last few weeks. To my colleagues, I have considered you good friends for so many years. We've shared countless wonderful experiences together, and I never meant to do anything that to offend or hurt you. Until these last few weeks, I had no idea that these anonymous or animosities ever existed. I've never had anything but respect for you, and so I deeply regret any word or action that made any one of you feel otherwise. In many respects, life is about course correction and growth. So many fans have written me over the years about very personal issues and struggles, and I have always done my best to encourage and support them. The truth is that I am just as susceptible to struggle and difficulties as anyone. I have identified areas in which I need to grow or I need growth, and I am taking this time to recommit to God and seeking counseling. I am committed to putting every effort into improving not only myself, but for everyone I interact with. Each of you deserve nothing less. Finally, please be kind to one another. The very last thing that I want is for anyone to be hatefully targeted, especially not on my behalf. Most sincerely, Vic Mignogna. Okay, so basically from what I'm reading, and give it be my opinion or not, he's addressed the situation. He's not saying that he wasn't responsible for it, but he's claiming ignorance towards it. And, and he said if he did, I apologize. He's not saying he's not. He's not saying he did. He's just saying he's unaware of the antics. Here's the situation. Here's the situation that I see it from a perspective from what I see, especially from talking with him a few times. And this could be possibly true. This could be PR. This could be, this could be every bit of, damage control in some cases, a PR statement done by him or a representative, but I doubt it. I honestly really doubt it in this case because I've met him and this very well fits his description here. But in essence of this, I never really got that shady vibe from him at all, ever. That's not to say anything, but at the same time, his character has always been something of, good-natured, unintentional or whatnot. Just and genuine. I could definitely say genuine. It just felt genuine as opposed to some other people that I've come across to, whether it be business or whatever. I use critical thinking a lot, so I do tend to get those vibes so often. Every so often, at least. With Vic, it wasn't the case, and what I believe is that there's a possibility that I can definitely say, in this, we don't know, but I can definitely possibly believe that he may not have been aware of especially after talking and doing everything that I did, invested in this situation and the people I spoke with and the things that I read. I really think he's kind of unaware of some of the things that he does and doesn't think that it really was harming people. Some people really just don't read the room properly. I'm not defending anything that he does, because I do believe in some cases people should learn or observe the situation, read the room, if you will, and understand people case by case. You just have to do that. You can't live so freely and not do that. But there are people. He's not the first person I've heard. There are people out there who don't realize what they're doing. I know people like that. I worked with people like that where they would do some of the weirdest things or things that will just that are considered abnormal to society, that abnormal to the crowd that they're around, and it just gives them a weird vibe. So there are people like that out there. So at one point we called them geeks, we called them nerds, that's, dorks, if you will. Those are people who really didn't understand social cues, or they weren't socially aware of what they're doing. And this could be the case with Vic. Again, not defending, just acknowledging that could be what it is. I can say, I won't even say his name, and I will give him credit. He has evolved since then. But there was a guy that I used to work with, and he came off really, really weird to people. He had that really kind of creepy vibe. But when I hung around him outside of that job, he had a whole different thing going on. I got to learn more about him to understand him more. And I was probably the only one who actually told him, like, dude, you shouldn't be doing that. And I'm like, if you don't tell people head on, sometimes, I think a lot of people expect everybody to understand their world around them, their 360. And that's not always the case. Some people just don't realize until somebody tells them. Now, once they tell you, and once they inform you of the situations or how they feel, or whatever like that, it's up to the person to react accordingly to whether they're going to respect their wishes or keep doing the same thing. That's when it gets down to. So if Vic is pleading ignorance to what he is, now he's aware. Let's see if he does it now. Let's see what happens after the fact that he is so aware, heavily aware of this situation, and does now. Again, when situations like this, you have to tell people. This is why if you're around somebody who kind of weird you out in some cases, you have to step up and actually kind of tell people, especially in this day and age, what is bothering you. Because the idea is just to like walk away from the dude or the person, or try to avoid the person at all costs, in hopes that, but sometimes that's not a thing. Sometimes people aren't aware of what they do or say and don't realize that it's a big no to do. That could be the situation here with Vic. And again, I judge it from the people I've spoken to from his inner circle, it really just come off because they said, he does weird stuff. He does some really interesting things, especially when it comes to the religion factor, whether it be fans or, colleagues. And they, he does it unbeknownst to him that it annoys them, or, he forces his opinions or whatever. He has his ego or whatever. He's able to do it because nobody's stopping him from doing it. So now people are stopping him from doing it. He is addressing it. Let's see how this goes from this point on. It was, again, this came off to me very genuine. Let's see where this goes. And if he does it again after this, then it's on him. This is almost like kind of the, there are people who've done this before. No, I wouldn't say do this before. I don't want to compare him to OJ because it's like, okay, OJ got acquitted, and we figured he would just lay low. No, he went and did the same stupid stuff. But I don't want to compare them. There's two big contrasts from there. But let's just see where this go from here. I will give him credit for not backing down on any of this. For being, because again, normally when people are actually, accused of this type of situation, and from my experience, they hide away. There's patterns of wrongdoing that happens, and once the wrongdoing is discovered, there are patterns where people tend to hide away, where they try to, lie to the end to do it, or they don't say anything at all. He did not do this. He addressed it. He came forward to it. He apologized, in a sense. This really was an apology letter. But it's like, and he said he's going to seek counseling. So this is him not denying anything. And the fact that he said, I'm going to seek counseling, this is him coming out of the blue and just like, I understand it. I see the issue. I was not aware of the issue. I'm going to do what I can to fix the issue. So, there's some cases it feels very, it's a mix between PR and, damage control and genuine. And there's a little bit of genuineness to it as well. And we'll see how this goes. I do commend him for just coming out. This was the best thing that he could have done in this situation. Better than other people that I've seen that are accused of the similar situations or worse. So I've always said, like, the best thing you should do is come out and address it. Neil Kaplan, too. I want to talk about that as well. Neil Kaplan was accused by Emily Lloyd around that same time. Well, I get credit to Neil. He actually has stepped up and he's not backed down, not once in this situation. He's pretty much more than pleaded his innocence in this case, but he also claimed that he had more evidence of the situation, and he was looking to see if they were going to, he was going to be able to get in touch with Emily Lloyd through from a organizer, a middle person, from the con or whatever, he's still tweeting strongly out there. He's still on social media strongly. Emily has not spoken out since. So I don't know what's going on with that situation, but I whether it's going to be good. This must be good on his end. We'll see. I don't know if any develops come up, but right now he's doing his thing. He's standing his ground on this whole thing. So we'll see on that note. I mean, both more or less Vic than anything. I'm hoping that he does seek help, like he said he was going to do, and hopefully things can turn around, because right now it's just going to turmoil. So far, Rotten Teeth and Funimation, which to me Funimation is a big one, have cut ties with him at all costs at this time, at least. This video, we haven't heard anything from him yet, or any other place that he's ever done work with, but we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this turns down. But so far it's just those two, and I wish him well. In some cases, there's got to be, and I've spoken about this, I asked about this. Is there a point or a limit that one is forgiven for these situations? And I've talked to some of the people in our Facebook group. Most of them say yes. Most of them have said yes under, circumstances, case-by-case basis. I agree with that. I do believe that it has to be a case-by-case basis. I do believe as a society of fear, in a state of fear that we're in right now in this society, because yes, we are in a state of fear. We have to take into account of that. We have to own up to that. People are in such a state of fear right now that they can't forgive the minute somebody does anything wrong, despite the fact that nobody's perfect and everybody's done something. That it's just, the difference is he's being pointed out in front of millions, or at least tens of thousands of people in this case, about his case. But people have done other wrongs before. Hell, I've had my own wrongs when I was in high school. I did a lot of things I regret. I would say regret and deny. I don't deny, but because I could have had a better direction in life, going in the right direction, but things happen. It does. But I learned from those situations. I've recovered from those situations, and I evolved from those situations. And you have to allow people to do that under circumstances. It's a case-by-case base. I think they're just, with everything going on, people are just in a state of fear. They, at this point in their mindsets, I believe people just want to rid themselves of all forms of evil. But it's not as black and white as that. Some things require definite, situations as well, definite, evaluations to see if there's something worth digging back and reflecting on it and giving a second chance. I do believe in second chances. Only second chances to the same situation, because you can't keep doing it. After a while, it's just like, after the second time, it's like, no. I do want to point out, speaking of which, a big shout out and thank you to my client, Danny Reeves. She called me up a few days ago and said that she was going to be herself, and she does a lot of, she's on social media a lot. She has a 20,000 following on Facebook, and I believe, following in other forms of social media. But she has a big following out there, and she's been working hard, doing events and gatherings and social and events and everything, working with, a lot of different companies in Philadelphia here, and really established people. One of which is Sam Anion, who is an attorney, I believe an injury attorney, who is focusing on sexual misconduct and assault and all those cases as of recent, due to the recent situation. So she had the opportunity to do a live stream video with him, which a lot of our A.C.M.G members got a chance to see, because I posted on there. I felt it was very important to do so on there. I posted it on my page. You could go to Danny Reeves, spelled D-A-N-I, Reeves, spelled R-E-A-V-E-S, and check that out. If you guys want any information, any legal information regarding sexual assault at the workplace, or just in whatever, or an event or whatever like that, or a club, go out to them, because they provided a lot of useful information for you to know, some information on where to call if you're in situations like that. It was very useful. She called me up, told me that she was going to do this, so I did a video myself for Facebook and A.C.M.G. and let them know that it was going to be there. Because I want to keep everybody safe. I want to help protect and save everybody as much as I can. And for us to do so to each other and help each other, to create a safer, fun community so we can have fun and keep doing all the stuff that we want to do without any worries of all this crap. So thank them both for taking the time to do that. It was really cool for them, awesome for them to do that. So I just want to give a shout out there. So moving on, real quick, I definitely want to bring this up. I watched the show on TNT called Drop the Mic. It's by Method Man and Haley Beaver. They host a show. I knew some of you guys have seen it before. The reason why I'm bringing this up because the guest that they had this week was Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith, Jay and Silent Bob, once again, doing their thing. So the deal is that they do rap battles. They do, they battle each other rap-wise. And yes, they have ghostwriters. They're obviously, some of them do have ghostwriters when they do it. Like you see some of the guests that are on there, a lot of them celebrity guests are on there, and you just know that they're really not, they're not lyricists by any stretch. Only a few people I think that really have, put together their own stuff. But most of them, if there's somebody they're not unfamiliar, they got ghostwriters or whatever. But even still, they still have to perform the actual deal and really pull it off and sound legit like they do. And a lot of them surprisingly do. I could not wait to see Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes on air. It was awesome. Go out of your way to see it. It's on this week's. They don't pull any punches. They talk about his heart attack. They talk about, Jason talks about his heart attack. Kevin talks about his drug problems. They just go, they're best. They're really, really best friends. And they do talk about, Kevin does talk about how, Jason was there, went at the hospital, like, very emotional when he had that heart attack. So, they've been best friends for years. And Kevin was there for him when he was going through the drug problem. I love these two so much because of not the movies that they made together, not just the movies that they made together, but the ongoing, undeniable friendship. This is true friendship. I wish I had friends like that. It is undeniable, like unconditional friendship and love that these guys have for each other, and they looked out for each other for so long. He helped Jason recover. This is a very documented story. They talked about this so many times on the Smodcast and everything. It's awesome. Shout out to both of them. I love those two. They're very great inspirations to me. Kevin Smith is like a hero to me because Clerks literally helped me get the hell out of my damn retail job. I was working retail for like 7 years. And, I was doing pretty good there. It was just at the times, it was, just at the level I was at the time. And within that level I was evolving. I kept becoming supervisor and managers or whatever within that in very short times. But there was a time I was just like, I felt like I was getting like trapped and stuck. And like many people, because they get so comfortable in those environments. Once you get in retail, it's like you get in a state of mind. It's like you get a weekly paycheck. You get into a situation. You get into a comfort zone. But within that comfort zone, there's an illusion of a comfort zone in there. But it's all the stupid drama that goes on there, the management that always tries to, screw you over, the bosses and everything, sometimes the payroll doesn't go away. It's just all sorts of stupid stuff that we go through every day. And I'd done that for like 7 years, and it was just a time I was burnt out. And then somebody, when I was working at the art store in South Street, somebody actually, put me down on Clerks and how passionate she was about it. And I watched it, and I'm like, this is the life I'm living right now. But at the very end, when Randall and I forgot, Dante and Randall were fighting because Randall told him off. It's like, because he kept saying, I'm not supposed to be here. And, Randall was like, well, if you're not supposed to be here, to get the hell out, quit. What are you doing? And it just, it really, really opened me up. And I was like, at this point, there was a time I was like, I'm fed up. I'm done. I am so done with this. And then I just said, I'm worth more than this. I'm better than this. And I end up, working on getting a corporate job, which I ended up getting. And I did that for over 10 years until now. I just decided to get into doing freelance work now because I've done the corporate thing already. I know how shady and crappy that is. It's just an upper echelon version of a retail job with the same comfort zone, the same paycheck and everything. It's just crazy. But Kevin Smith, Clerks, man, they helped me do it. So, I'm taking a big risk, but, I honestly, from a health standpoint, from a mental health standpoint, it's the best thing I've ever done. It's literally the best thing I've ever done. I mean, if this is my last road, I have no regrets taking this road, going down at this point. But, the life of just being able to create and do this podcast and all this stuff, and just, working on the road to getting what I want to do. This is what the American dream is all about, or what it used to be. I don't know what the hell a lot of people in this generation consider it now these days with everything going on, but I still believe in that. I still believe in it, but shout out to Kevin Smith. It was a great actual battle that those two had. Go out of your way to check it out. The whole episode was awesome too, because there was two more people in there too that really killed it as well. But the Kevin Smith and A.C.M.G's rap battle segment, awesome. Go out of your way to check it out there. Shout out to Charles Fisher in our A.C.M.G Facebook group. Just this morning, he actually posted, because I actually forgot all about this. I really forgot all about this. The Crunchyroll Awards. I talked about this a few episodes back, and talked about the nominees and everything. And they actually have the winners. I don't know why they just now showed the winners, because I'm pretty sure the award ceremony was a month or two ago back, because I saw Chris Sabat actually won the award. But I'm going to run down the winners of this award. Some may shock some people. So here we go. The Crunchyroll Awards is as follow. Best opening sequence, Darling and the Franxx. Got to look at that. Got to check out the anime. It looks really cool, like a really cool mecha anime. Best ending sequence, Attack on Titan Season 3. I'm sure people are happy about that. Best boy character, Izuku Midoriya. I think I voted for him actually on there. Best girl character, Mai Sakurajima from Rascals Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. I love these crazy witty titles. Best voice acting performance in Japan, Mamoru Miyano, actually. I think I've heard that name before. Best voice performance, U.S., Christopher Sabat. I knew that was going to be a no-brainer right there. I think I voted for him too. He does a lot of characters, an insane amount of characters. So, and he addressed it already on the on his Twitter page as well. Funny part about that was that he actually, I believe he might have said that All Might was the best role he's ever played, and somebody did a meme for it where it shows that he quoted that and said that, or he did actually say that. I think he did say that on that tweet, and he said that, and then below the meme showed Vegeta crying. So there's that situation right there. Best fight scene. This is highly debatable. This one actually, I was very surprised at this, because where I thought the best fight scene of the year, based on hype, based on views, and just everybody was talking about this, but it didn't win. Instead, best fight scene, All for One versus All Might. Now, take note, I have seen that fight as well. It is a great fight. It is an awesome fight. I don't think it was the best fight by far. I thought the best fight went with Goku and Jiren, especially which led to Goku turning into Ultra Instinct mode. How did that not win? Or even not only that, but him and Frieza versus Jiren. How the hell did that fight not win? I don't understand. I don't know if they were focusing on just one-on-one or just in fight in general, but come on, man. That's insane. That is utterly insane. There were other people, however, that were mentioning another fight that I actually never got a chance to see because I'm not that far into the series, but the fight with Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki. And that's from Naruto's Next Generation. I haven't got a chance to see that. And I think that might be the fight scene which led to the supposed demise of Naruto. I still don't know. If anybody's listening to this in front of Facebook group, don't spoil this for me. But I still don't know whether he is still alive or not from that whole thing. But that I heard. I've seen a clip of that fight, and it is cool. But I do think, just from an animation standpoint, from a fight sequence standpoint, that Jiren and Goku fight was ridiculous, and it was hyped up to be almost like a pay-per-view must-see pay-per-view fight. Like, they hyped it up huge for that. The internet broke the day that came out. So, again, yeah, because the internet broke basically because it was on streaming both on Crunchyroll and Funimation, simulcast. And it broke the internet. I could not get in to watch it. I had to wait till the next day to watch it. That in the final episode. So I really, really don't understand how that won. That's crazy. Now, funny thing is, because I voted for Jiren and Goku, thinking like that was going to definitely win. Here's the thing. Here were some funny things about. I immediately read the comments and see what they thought about it. Either some of them read the Naruto and the other one, and the other ones read other fights as well. My case is like, my pet peeve about when people complain is that I guarantee you the people that complained were not the people that voted. Because we had this situation with our best of 2018 episode where people were voting, and then we revealed their votes, and people didn't want to like bitch and moan. I'm like, no, you can't bitch and moan because you did not vote. That's how it works. If you don't vote, your vote doesn't get, it doesn't count for it. Whether it does or not, but like, you can't complain if you did not vote at all. You just can't. Like, shut the hell up. I swear to goodness. Sometimes I swear, with all the complaining that people do on the internet, we just all need to get it. I swear. Especially if we're adults and older people, like, we need to be relieved intimately. I swear the world will be a better place if otherwise, because sometimes I think people are pent up and just going into the internet and just complaining about everything these days. We just relax, release in this case. But people, this is not a kids podcast. I just want to point out. So, but I digress. Where we at now? Best protagonist, Rimuru. Tempest from That Time I Got Reincarnated into a Slime. I gotta really check out that anime. I've heard really, really great things about the anime. It is available both on Crunchyroll and Funimation and English dub as well. So I'm actually going to check that out soon. I've heard way too many things about that. Best antagonist, All For One. I'm debating on that one. He was a great antagonist, but All For One was not on there on like My Hero Academia nearly enough to really do anything. Like, you gotta be to me, a great antagonist has to be in multiple episodes, and throughout those episodes really do some really crazy antagonistic type of things throughout the episodes. I'll give you a great example of a great antagonist. Yujiro Hamna from Baki. The original series, the first season, the second season, that dude is one of the most vicious antagonists ever. The stuff that he did, he was like legit the devil. He was ever equivalent to Akuma. I mean, just devilish as hell, man. He gave zero to anybody in that deal. I mean, that's, to me, is an antagonist. Goku Black will be an antagonist. As much as I didn't like the ending of that saga, he was there throughout different episodes. All For One was like there for like only maybe 3 episodes, maybe. And what did he really do at that point? I don't know what went into that vote right there either. So I don't know. I think there could have been probably way better, villains in there for that category. Best animated, and I don't even remember who I voted for either. That's the worst part. Best animation, Violet Evergarden. That did look amazing. Best character design, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Golden Wind. I'm assuming, I haven't seen this series yet. I'm still on the Diamond is Unbreakable series on Toonami, so I'm assuming after Diamond is Unbreakable is out, this is going to be the next one up. And I'm hoping this is the one with the Jodeci ending sequence, because we've seen clips of that episode of the ending sequence, and people are claiming that this is real. I do believe it, because there are ending sequences that are playing real music on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I love them. I don't understand why they didn't get best ending sequence for me, because they're using actual music, and they have beautiful, eccentric art styles in the actual, you know, and it's like a whole collage of different really cool design work that is, you know, scrolling over to, like, paneling to the left or the right in the series. It's awesome. I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventures ending sequences. And then to top it off, they're using actual legit classic legendary music, pop songs, rock songs, and in this case R&B, because Jodeci of all things is on there. Like Freaking You, I think, is one of the songs that they're using for it. It is awesome. I hope that is real. So if I was told it was, but if it is, I'm hoping it's on Go to Win, and I'm looking forward to seeing it just for that alone. So you got that. Best Continuing Series, Dragon Ball Super. And that, I think I voted for that too, and I was skeptical about that. But apparently there will be new episodes coming soon. So yeah, it is Continuing Series at this point. Best Director, and I totally, absolutely, 100% agree with this, and I might have voted for this as well. Best Director, Masaki Yuasa, which is the director of Devilman Crybaby. If you have not seen that on Netflix, go out of your way. It is as intriguing and beautiful and emotional and just, I can't, there's not enough words to speak about how great this movie. I can't articulate enough words to talk about how well this movie is just directional wise. It really, really touched on a lot of issues going on today. And surprisingly, in U.S. society, I really was not expecting any type of, you know, situations that it would be touching based on our ideology and our things that's going on in our world. It was really awesome to be awesomely done by this guy. And go out of your way to see it if you haven't seen it. I mean, art direction is one thing. It goes a really different art direction wise. It goes really different from your normal traditional anime. But if you focus on the story itself, the people involved, the message that they're giving here, the message that they're providing, is based upon what's going on today in our country alone, in the U.S. here. Awesome. Just absolutely awesome. Best Film. I have not seen this yet, and I do intend to soon. My Hero Academia 2 Heroes. Now, granted, I know people are probably, if they didn't know about this award ceremony, they probably haven't realized this award ceremony came out way before Dragon Ball Super Broly came out. So if you're thinking Dragon Ball Super Broly should have got this award, only know that this award ceremony came out way before the release of that movie. So take that for consideration. There's a possibility that Dragon Ball Super Broly could have actually won, and it may win for this year. So don't worry, stay tuned for that as well. So those were all the award ceremonies for that. Some I expected, some I don't have my biggest beef is the fight scene one. I truly believe there were better fight scenes, and I'm not taking anything away from the All Might versus All for One fight. I'm just saying, like, I've seen better. I've seen better in that case, and it's amazing. It is what it is, but we'll see what gets it next year and what happens next year in the world of anime from there. Some other cool news that has been reported is that I believe Nickelodeon might be doing this, but Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will be doing an animated crossover based on the IDW comic book series that came out in 2015. If you guys didn't get a chance to see those or read those comic books, it's so awesome. The way they put that together, it's not the cartoony Turtles either. It's just like the original comic book style, Turtles that we originally known, and teaming up with Batman. Really good writing in that one, so they're gonna definitely do that soon. I don't know if it's coming out on it as a TV syndication, or is it going to be a movie version coming out in digital on DVD or whatever, Blu-ray. So I do know, what I understand or I've read is that Troy Baker will be voicing both Batman and the Joker in this one. If you guys, first of all, if you're into animation and the actors involved, Troy Baker, he's like the top dude. He's the George Clooney of animation and video games in this case. And every time I hype him up, I always think I'll never get to talk to this guy. But you never know. I got a chance to get my hands on Kevin Conroy, so you never know. But he is like one of the top rated and well paid actors in animation and video games. He's like that guy that gets the exclusive contract because he is so damn talented. I remember the first time I really discovered him wasn't in any animation or anything like that. It was on the game Infinity Blade, one of the original, and still to me the best, the greatest mobile game of all time. He did the voice of part 3 of that game, and I was deeply intrigued by what he's done. Like he sounded like Goliath from Gargoyles, and which makes me hope and pray that they actually do that movie. They're doing Disney's doing all these live action movies of the animated series. They need to do Gargoyles like yesterday. I pray that's means to them doing it. And if anybody to do that voice, they should put Troy Baker in as Goliath. They really should rely on him. But also do note about him as well is that he's voiced Batman and the Joker before on Batman Arkham Origins, the video game. So he's done. This is not his first time doing it. He's done it before, and he's done the Joker too. He does a really he's the closest to a Mark Hamill Joker as you can get. He did a great job, getting the essence of Mark Hamill's Joker when he did that. So I was really impressed with that because I believe Rocksteady wasn't doing that game. Somebody else, another company did that game, and Kevin Conroy couldn't do that voice, nor did Mark Hamill. So he did. I know he did one. I think he did the Joker, and somebody else did Batman's voice for that game in particular. But then they both came. Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy came back for the final Arkham Asylum game as well. So that was, that was that. Also noted that Tara Strong will be once again reprising her role as Harley Quinn as well as Poison Ivy. So, always lovely and talented Tara Strong as well. And it's really funny. I've never seen her. She's only done voice acting, and I've never seen her. Neither of them do live action. It's really interesting because if you've seen these people in person, they you're looking at them like these are really, really attractive looking people. Why aren't they in real live action? Like they could easily be in live action shows, but that's an interesting thing. I've looked at both of their IMDb's and I've never seen a show that they've been on where it was live action. I mean, some people just got the love for doing this. It's really awesome, but neither of them are ugly. I can tell you that. Hulu. In other news, Hulu may be targeting canceled Marvel series for their own network. Now, this is one of those believe it when you see it type of things. But in an interview with the Wrap, Craig Urich, who is the senior vice president of originals at Hulu, and when I say originals, means original content for Hulu, such as The Runaways and all that stuff, and other shows that they have on there. But he voiced his interest for any titles involved with the Marvel brand. Hulu has made a great success with the exclusive Marvel series Runaways. I've talked about this show religiously, and if you have not seen the Runaways, you are missing out on some great Marvel series, which is absolutely connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Season 2 has confirmed it when they mentioned Wakanda on there, and I was very happy. I was very happy about that, amongst other things in there that reassured me that they're connected. So it was awesome because the first season it was like they never really pointed out. It wasn't really obvious as to whether they really pointed out whether they connected or not. But the mention of Wakanda on there, it was a no-brainer on there. So we'll see. I mean, my thoughts on this: things are changing. There may be some possibilities to them. For what I understand, that it could possibly happen. I would love to see Daredevil and Luke Cage and Iron Fist. But again, from what we know is that there's a 2-year deal that Netflix has where they can't that these properties can't be used, and the fact that Netflix will always have the seasons that they have on their show because they're Netflix exclusives. So they'll always have those episodes there as well. So, which is cool because it's actually cool for everybody. If Netflix can still keep those episodes, that means even if Hulu has brand new episodes, continuing the sagas of those, I'm not sure if they'll probably have to pay for those episodes from Netflix, or they won't and just continue it on anyway. And that will give the opportunity for Netflix to still have their fan base on there. And then, people have to get Hulu, or people with Hulu can continue it from there. So it's a kind of a win-win situation in this case if they do that. So we'll see. I would hope that they do and they can. We'll see, but it'll take 2 years for them to do it, from what I understand. Speaking of streaming networks, Loki is the first series announced for Disney Plus. That is an intriguing show to want to watch. Tom Hiddleston is reported to reprise his role as the beloved vilified trickster himself. So that is also a plus. I mean, that's a great deal. I mean, in all honesty, I do not intend on getting Disney Plus. Maybe if they do you can buy a month of it or something like that, I'll check it out just to, watch this entire series or whatnot. But I got too many on my plate already. I got way too many on my plate already. I actually did get a chance to check out Doom Patrol, by the way. Go out of your way to check it out. That's all I'm going to say. It is a really, really good series. First episode on there. So go out of your way to check it out. Brendan Fraser is back. I love this version of Brendan Fraser. I love the entire cast. Timothy Dalton is actually taking on the role of the doctor that's in there, which is surprising because he wasn't the original guy. So I don't know if he's going to be there for the entire season or whatnot. I don't know why the change happened, but Timothy Dalton is awesome. On the show. But I digress. According to the Hollywood Press, Michael Walteren of Rick and Morty will be the showrunner for this series. So they found their showrunner on here. So that'll be interesting. Walden will write the pilot episode as well as executive produce and the episode, as well as be recognized as the show's creator. So that is that's kind of inspiring. All I say this. I'm not saying don't get streaming networks, but if you're like a person like myself who kind of is on a budget with these things, and as much as you want to see these things, you can only buy so many streaming networks. I'm just saying, buy the ones that you're going to invest in heavily. Invest in the ones that you're going to watch heavily, in other words. I mean, if you got the money to waste, that's fine, but you got to take it for what it is. Sometimes some of these, it's just like you're just going to buy it, but you're not going to watch everything. You're not going to only watch one thing. It's really not worth it to get it. And it does add up. And if you're cord cutting to do this, do your math before you truly do it. Because I did my episode. If you go back, I did an episode and talk about that where I did the math, and of all these streaming networks, you're not really cutting the cord. I'm just telling you right now. Do the math on that one. So it'll be interesting. Tom Hiddleston, one of the biggest attractions of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. From what I understand, there's rumors that it's based on the past and not the recent because of what he has done. But also, if there's a low-key episode, I don't know how they're going to do this. It's going to be based when Thor is not in the world, because you got to think, Thor has got to be a part of this to some extent. I don't know how they're going to do this and how they're not going to interact with him, or Lady Sif may be on there. I don't. This is going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Who are going to be reprising their roles in this thing? Is he going to be in Asgard? Is he going to be traveling? I'm very interested to see where this is going. So, it's definitely. I mean, it's not the first time a dead dude is going to be back in a series, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is also coming back this summer, and Coulson is back in some form or fashion. So we'll see. They have a way of doing this. This is Marvel, of course. You got to understand, when people die, they don't really die. So if you are a true Marvel fan, you know this. I mean, Charles Xavier is reincarnation personified in the Marvel Universe. So we will see from there. But folks, that will do it for this edition of What is New in the World of ACMG. We're going to take a break, come back, and talk about my review of the I hate to say that too much, but it is much anticipated for hardcore, hardest of the hardcore anime and manga fans. But it's here. We're finally here. Battle Angel Alita is here. Doesn't measure up. We're going to talk about it right after this. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dak Xavier Josiah, the host of ACMG Presents Talk Time Live, the podcast. You want to catch up with all of our podcast shows and hear from some of the hottest names in all of anime, comics, movies, and games, such as...
This is Miley Flanagan, the voice of Naruto.
This is Stephanie Shea, the voice of Sailor Moon.
This is Ruben Langdon, voice of Ken Masters and Dante from Devil May Cry.
Hey there, this is Kyle Hebert, the voice of Ryu from Street Fighter V.
This is Chris Battle, character designer of Teen Titans Go.
Here's your chance to check out all of that and more on TalkTimeLive.com. TalkTimeLive.com provides all of our ACMG content with new and previous episodes, exclusive interviews, articles, and much more. Visit TalkTimeLive.com and let us help you learn to let go, live life, and love all things ACMG.
Talk Time Live.
Hey, this is Bob Camp, co-creator of The Ren and Stimpy Show, and you're listening to ACMG Presents Talk Time Live.
Do it.
And now it's time for our top topic of the week. Ready? Fight!
I'm not your daughter. I don't know what I am.
I do. You're the most advanced weapon ever. But that's just a shell. It's not bad or good. That part's up to you.
I do not stand by in the presence of evil.
She's threatening the natural order of things. Tonight is not a game. It is a hunt. I need you to destroy the girl called Alita.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Thanks for joining us, and we are here to talk about our review of Battle Angel Alita, or, in James Cameron's case, Alita Battle Angel. It's known that he does a lot of movies that has to have T, N, or A with it, so that's his deal. I don't understand that kick, but he decided to change the words around so you know that he's actually working in it. And in this case, I don't care, because what he was able to do, along with Robert Rodriguez, was create what I could possibly say is one of the best manga anime adaptations I've ever seen. This movie was sensational, was awesome, was spectacular, even in my case. And from a standpoint that just visually, it was just, oh my God, I words can't describe how visually stunning. Now, I'm a firm believer that I stand by Ghost in the Shell. I actually didn't think there was any problem with that. People had beef about that, you know, the controversy with Scarlett Johansson doing it. I didn't have a problem because they kind of really made sense of why she was in that shell, whatever or not. So it was okay, but it didn't blow me away. This one, far and away, blew me away. I watched this movie and had the same experience and feeling that I had when watching Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And I say that from a standpoint that scene from scene, they took from the manga and the anime OVA. They took splices from both and combined the two together in such an elaborate way and gave it way more depth than you ever could imagine. I've never read the manga, but after watching this, I am going to actually read more of the manga. Now I got to find it. I got to find a way to get my hands on it somehow and really read on this thing, because I grew up during the 90s. I think it came out like 95 or something like that. And you know, when we were tape trading and all that stuff, I got a chance to see it on VHS, and it was one of the original animes that I got to see, along with, you know, Dragon Ball Z, the Android movie. was one. Fist of the North Star was one of the first really hardcore anime movies. I mean, hardcore animes I've seen. Now, you got to take note. I did watch Star Blazers and Speed Racer and Battle of the Planets and all that stuff way before the term anime came on. But I think the term really came, when I watched those movies like Battle Angel, Alita, and MD Geist and all those other really cool hardcore animes. We don't get that many of those type of animes anymore these days. But when I got to see those, that's when it turned Japanimation, which is no longer, they killed that off, and now anime is the term that we've adopted, for this era, for this generation. But Battle Angel Alita was one of the first that I've seen, and I watched the anime, when I was a teen, ages ago, right around the time of 1995, 96, that range, and it was. First of all, it was a sight to see, a beautiful thing to see. It was just this was such an adult-oriented, show, and this was, as a teen, you are so fascinated with anime because you're thinking you're watching. I think anime, when as a teen back in the day, not this generation anime, our generation anime, because it wasn't as diluted as far as continuity as it is now. Like. Some of the anime today is just a little bit more diluted as far as depth and character and grittiness. And I mean, there were some really, like, if our parents really knew what we were watching, I doubt if they would really let us watch it, because it was like blood, it was violent, it was, very sexually oriented. Just really, it was just like, but. To our parents, we were just watching cartoons, in hopes that they didn't run in on us during some of the more scavy or violent scenes or whatever like that to discover it. But we got to see a little bit of adulthood through these movies, because these were like rated R cartoons or animations at the time. And it was just amazing. Battle Angel Alita was just one of them, but with a gripping, really cool story along with it. So for those who have never watched the anime OVA or read the actual manga, Japanese comic, if you guys don't know, I'll give you the story, this version story at least, but it really doesn't shy away from the original story. They did an amazing job here. The story is, in the 26th century comes two types of social stratifications: the Iron City, or the Iron Scrap City. The Iron Scrap City is what they call it in the actual anime, or the Scrap Iron City. I forgot. That's what it was. Which is what they call it in the anime, where people live in the slums trying to survive. And then there's the skies and the Sky City. Pretty much the Sky City is also known as Zalem. So what they do in the Sky City is it's literally upper echelon, if you will. It's the highest of high stratifications up there. And, people are rich, they're, extravagant, they're wealthy, they're in that level. And then anything that they consider trash goes into the scrapyard, which is being dumped from miles high into the sky, into the ground. So you had that, and just nothing but broken, body, like robotic body parts and just all types of machinery in there. And is there where Dr. Ito, played by Christopher Waltz, who looks actually really much like the anime and manga version, finds the remains of the cyborg that is still alive, in fact, and he brings back to life thanks to his cybernetic body that he had already. And he names the girl Alita on the account that she does not have any memory of her past. Alita searches hard to remember who she is and where she comes from. Meanwhile, a man named Vector, played by Mahershala Ali, the Oscar award-winning Mahershala Ali, a.k.a. Cottonmouth, is in the search of Alita as he sees her as a threat to his master's hand. Vector sets out to destroy her before she can remember anything, as well as retrieve something that is very valuable within Alita. So that's where kind of the storyline goes from there. But I got to talk about the standout cast. This was just an awesome, absolutely awesome cast. Rosa Salazar plays Alita. I've never heard of this actress before, but she moved me in this series with playing the lead character. Alita, I gotta mention this. Alita is the name on the movie, but in the actual manga and the OVA, she's known as Gali. I don't know why she's named Gali in the anime series, but I felt Alita was better. So they decided to change her name to Alita, and there's a reason. They connect the reason as to why they did it too, and I like the fact that they did. So that was one of the things that was really cool. But her role in this was very believable, heartwarming. There was a point in the movie where, in the beginning, where she warmed your heart like a Disney mascot character. But by the end of it, you were cheering for her because she became a leader, a statement, a meaning, a movement. And I love it. It's amazing with this movie. This movie took over 20 years to come. It was being thought about in 1995, with the minute James Cameron caught wind of it. I believe director Del Toro, of Pacific Rim. I think from what I understand, from what I read, he was the one that got him into this manga and got him to understand it, and and James Cameron's fascination for this came about. I've heard about this movie, him wanting to make this movie dating so far back, but the deal with this movie is that he could never make the movie the way he wanted to because the technology of it at the time wasn't there. This man was so, like I said before, this man is so ahead of his time because he knew this, and he knew that sooner or later we were going to get to a era where we'll be able to do this, and he knew. You almost call him a futurist in this case, but he knew we were going to get to this point, and now they picked the right time, and it's here, and I think they did a tremendous job. Like I said, Christopher Waltz played Dr. Dyson Ito. Got to know this. In the actual manga, and I believe in the anime, they just call him Dr. Ito, I believe. In the manga, he's known as Daisuke Ito in there. So, but again, they really, really picked a uncanny looking version of Dr. Ito, because if you watch the anime and see the character design there, and then you see Christopher Waltz, they do look exactly alike. Like, he just literally comes to life. They didn't even have to do too much makeup on the guy for him to look like it. Jennifer Connelly as Sharon, which is the ex-wife of Dr. Ito, also in the anime as well. So that was pretty awesome to have on her. And I mean, I swear to goodness, it's almost watching this movie and their roles and the scenes that they had. It was almost literally like they just read the manga for their script. That was it. Like, the manga was their script, or they watched the anime just to get seen. Like, and the anime was the storyboard, the animatronic storyboard, because just so many different scenes that were just like the movie. It was almost a spitting image in some cases. I loved it. Mahershala Ali is Vector, and Vector is in the anime, I believe. I'm not sure if he's in the. I'm pretty sure if he's in the anime version, he is also in the manga version as well. But there's some differences between the two, and I'll talk about those differences between the anime and the anime and the movie version too as well, the standouts. This one was cool. Ed Crane, who many know as Ajax from Deadpool, the really charismatic, good-looking GQ-like main bad guy in the movie. Like, I always thought, like, he doesn't really look like a doctor professor, and I thought they did that on purpose, and I thought that was awesome that he did it. But here, he plays the character Zapan, which is one of the hunter warriors that you see on the anime and that you read on the manga as well. So I thought he did a really good job. The CGI in this thing is just extraordinary. Some of the best, like, Michael Bay wished that he would have had the designers that he had on it, because they were phenomenal. The character design of these characters are just, they really did a great job bringing this to life and really touching the essence of the manga and the anime. Just phenomenal. But he was great. He was perfect for this role as Zarpan in here. It's really awesome. Jackie Earle Haley, our own favorite character of all of Watchmen, Horshack, from The Watchmen. He played Griska. And, man, again, another great performance. This guy, I don't think, gets enough credit for what he does. He is awesome at every role he's ever played in anything, dating back since Watchmen. He's just phenomenal, and he did really well on his character. Of course, he does the voice. The CGI in there he's one of my favorite character designs of the entire movie. Just the way they put them together, it's just beautiful. They didn't stay away from the anime at all in this thing. Keen Johnson, you guys know if you watch Ready Player One, he was the main actor on there. He played Hugo, and I think that was a perfect casting right there because he does look like the actual Hugo. He looks like the Hugo that comes to life from the manga and the anime. Perfect. And this dude, he's been getting around. He's been getting around real well. And again, he's playing a apocalyptic, a post-apocalyptic type of movie, a futuristic movie, if you will. And he does really well with this. So hopefully they'll get him into something else different from this. But he's done really well in these types of roles too. And he does no different here. He's very believable as Hugo in this. And every character, I do got to point out, every character in this movie mimics the characteristics of the anime and the manga, but with more depth. They've done a great job adding a little bit more, but not too much, and not steering away from the source. So if you're one of those people, much like me, who enjoys watching adapted movies based on your favorite whatever, and they do reply to source a lot, this is that movie. This is absolutely that movie here. Jorge Lindenberg Jr. And if you guys watched Bumblebee movie, he was on air. He plays Tanji on here. So if you watch the anime and you watch the movie, you know what's going to happen with him. But I like him better in here than he did than his character on Bumblebee, because he played a geeky character on Bumblebee, and it didn't fit because it's like, how the hell does he look like a geek? This dude was shredded. He had a shredded like body. And he wasn't a bad-looking dude, so I'm like, where does the geek part come about? Like, no real geek, especially in the 1980s, looked like that. So, I mean, the only thing that was very, 80s appropriate is that he had a fro. It's like, other than that, it's like, where the hell you see a geek with that, definition and that body definition? That doesn't exist. But, I mean, not to say that he didn't do the role good. He was really good at his role, but I think there was like, all right, I can't believe him as to be a geek. He played a geek character really well, but it's like, if you just based on his personality and not his visual, it's like, nah, why is he getting pushed around? This dude is like, he's shredded. What the hell? So that was cool right there. I did like him in here. He played a much more intriguing character here in this movie. And the last one I want to mention, which they did not mention at all, he was not credited in the movie, and it was a total surprise at the end. Again, by now, if you're listening to this, I assume that you are watching this. You've already watched this movie, or you just want to know more about the movie before you go see it. So if you don't want to be spoiled, fast forward now. Because the surprise actor in here was Nova, uncredited, played by Ed Norton. I was very excited. I'm a huge Ed Norton fan. I love Mark Ruffalo, respectfully, as a Hulk, but he's, Ed Norton also too is my Hulk, as well as my Bruce Banner, definitely without a doubt. But yeah, man, this is gonna be good. This movie or movie series is going to be good. I love this movie wholeheartedly. You got to go out of your way to see this movie. It's awesome. There's some really great scenes and some things that are going on. But here's the contrast between the OVA anime, because again, that's all I saw. I never read the anime, the manga, but I watched the anime when I was younger. And I just recently watched the anime. That's why I'm so excited and surprised at how much they took from the anime. Like, the scenes are just it's like they really didn't have to do too much because they really took from this. Is exactly what I wanted to happen with certain movies that are adapted to whether comic books or anime, is that you already have the source here. You have the source right here. And here's the natural order of Japan when it comes to this type of fandom is that they do a manga. The manga becomes successful. It turns into an anime. That anime takes directly from the source of the manga. Majority of them do. Takes directly to the source of the anime with a few fillers or whatever like that. But when you go to those scenes of, like, I read My Hero Academia right up to the part of, All Might and All for One. And I finally got to see it on anime form, and it is beautifully seen, It's like it just came to life on the panel. Well, James Cameron and Robert Rodriguez did the same thing here, and taking it from the anime, taking it from the manga, and bringing it and just like making the panels come to life here. And I haven't seen anything like that since The Watchmen and Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Like almost word from word and scene. It literally word from word, scene from scene. And I mean, there was some really interesting parts, like even at the very end. And I was like, oh my God, they really did do this exact thing in the movie. I was so thrilled when I watched the anime again just yesterday. I was really excited about it. It was awesome. Now, the contrast between the anime and the movie here, I want to point out, the OVA anime was only an hour. And people understand, it kills me because people always, when it comes to like 13 episode series or something like that, I don't think people in this generation remember or know what an OVA is, and that's original video animation. These are short miniseries or one-time movies or whatnot of certain animes. Not all of them are meant to be series, So I don't think OVAs exist anymore to that extent. I'm not sure if they do, but that term is barely mentioned anymore. So I thought it's hilarious when you got people saying, I hope there's another season. I'm like, because back in the 90s when we were watching it, we understood. It was like, okay, ooh, excuse me, just forgive me. Back in the day, it was just a one-time deal, and you just kept enjoying what you enjoyed. And there was no crying if there was no other season because you got everything you needed from that OVA. Series and there were some like Tenchi Muyo that had an actual series, and then they had an OVA version as well. And from there, and Ramna had an OVA series as well from there. So you had those type of animes that did that too, but even still, they were short series. And I don't think they were even canon. And I know Tenchi Muyo was not canon to the original because they had different situations. One had Tenchi's father, the other one had another. The OVA version had another, antagonist in there. So that was a whole thing right there. I believe Brotherhood, Full Metal Alchemist and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is also, I think, in that same role because they had the same storylines leading up until it separates when they talk about the father in Brotherhood. But the original OVA does not have the father in there. So I don't know if they consider that an OVA or not, or what. Never understood the difference between the two or why they even made two versions of that. But it is what it is. But here, this is the OVA when this OVA was only like 55 minutes. So that's all you got. And that's it. It was a very condensed version of everything that happened in the first two volumes of Battle Angel Alita in the manga. So they pretty much crammed the first two, and basically that's what the movie is based on. So in fact, the movie it really covers the anime OVA more than it is the manga in this case. So because there's a lot of scenes, what was not mentioned, and I think which is a part of the manga, is the motorball scene. They did manage to break in the motorball factor into the series or into the movie, which is part of the manga, if I understand. I've seen panels of that, of her playing motorball, so they added that part to it as well. The focus on her past as a warrior, that's another thing that I believe they added on that wasn't talked about in the OVA. They rarely talked about that at all in the OVA, nor was there any mention of Nova in the OVA. And apparently, for what I understood and I read up, is that not only is there one Nova, there's different versions of Nova, in here. So I don't know how long they're going to reach to this, but I need them to keep on going with this series if they're going to keep bringing in power like this. Oh, it's awesome. They also have Vector, which he's in there, but his connection to Nova. So if you see in the scenes with Mahershala Ali's Vector, he's being controlled at times or taken over by Nova every so often. And that's a whole situation there. So we don't know who Nova is until the very end and when they actually show him. But he's pretty much had puppet strings on Vector and the whole entire time. The focus on the affection between Alita and Hugo. Now, on the OVA version, that anime version, they have more of a platonic relationship. And it was supposed to, I guess it was supposed to lead in at the very end that Hugo loved her, but they never really focused on it. But the movie version, they acknowledge attraction to each other throughout the movie. So you get an idea that they're going to end up hooking up to some extent, leading to the inevitable at the end of that of the movie. So I thought that was pretty cool there too. And then of course naming Alita instead of Gali, because it was based on Alita is the name of his daughter. I thought that was a good deal too to change up on, because I don't understand the Gali thing anyway. And maybe they will mention the name of Gali in the other episodes. I don't know, because she still is trying to get her memory back completely. And at the time, she only knew herself as 99 based on the number that she had or what they were calling her from her memories when she was battling on the moon. So, which are also great moments and scenes in there. The motorball scenes in there are really great, and the memory scenes in there is great. But it's hard to really pick an actual great scene because the entire movie is visually awesome. And I mean, in a sense that, like, especially if you watch the OVA and then watch this, it's hard. I would say go watch the movie first. If you haven't seen the OVA, go watch the movie, but then watch the OVA and see how much they did. I think it's better to do it that way. You can find on YouTube the original anime of that. Again, it's 55 minutes, but it really does condense, and about majority of what you see in that movie is in that anime. It's amazing what they've done. So overall, I hope this is a way to continue this series. It looks like they're going to make a part 2. I really hope they don't cut it off. It needs to continue. I think this has a means to it. I think, and lo and behold, it did beat a lot of movies this week on the box office. So if that's an indication, and worldwide, I believe, has also done some great, pretty good numbers too. And this is an indication, yes, I really need them to do a part 2. I will fully support this. This is one of the best anime adaptions and manga adaptions I've ever seen. This will indeed be more of a cult classic. I think because the fact that a lot of, Marvel movies, DC movies are overwhelming things, that people aren't able to get as hyped as they are for like Endgame and all these other ones, Infinity Wars and all that when it was out. So not that many people know. Had this movie, and the way it is right now, came out during The Matrix or before The Matrix, this would have revolutionized a lot of stuff. This, just the way movie is being made and CGI is done, this would have revolutionized so much. I mean, this is James Cameron at his best. I mean, and Robert Rodriguez, they did a tremendous job. If I'm grading this, it gets an A+, without a doubt. Go out of your way to check out this movie in some form or fashion, or just, support this movie. If you're an anime fan, otaku, manga reader, whatever, you gotta love this. And I guarantee, this is one of those movies I guarantee during all the cons this year, the big cons, like Dragon Con and San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, you're going to see some Alita cosplays. I think you're going to see some drop-dead gorgeous Alita cosplays out there. And not only that, I think this is the right time for this movie to come out. It not only just from a technology standpoint, but from a movement standpoint. She is empowering, and that's the thing. It started out that you kind of, had a heart for her in the beginning, but she became such an empowering, character by the end. like this is a character you want to stand behind in the front lines. This is the person I want to fight with. That was the person that they created, and they did a great job. So this is beyond the perfect time for this movie to come out with everything going on, and we're trying to create this movement, this female empowerment going on. You can't have a better representation than Alita, by far. Of course, that's not up to me. That's for most women to say, but I think if they would watch this, I don't know. I would want to believe that they feel the same way too. She was so badass in this movie. I enjoyed it. Absolutely enjoyed it. A+ for me. Ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for this episode of A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live. Thank you very much for being a part of this show and supporting this show. Please go out of your way. Check out us on Talk Time Live, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Podbean, and now YouTube as well. YouTube is now posting our podcast on air, so it'll be shortly uploaded there, and you can check it out there. Thank you so much for the support. Stay tuned. Select Start is going to come this week. We may actually have an exclusive this week. I'm working on an exclusive with someone this week, so stay tuned for that. A really special person, music-wise especially. So we're working on that. I'm going to make sure that that's airtight and we get that back on. So stay tuned for that and much, much more. And of course, we'll be back next week for more to come. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. On behalf of myself, this is Dak Xavier Josiah saying, learn to let go, live life, and love all things anime, comics, movies, and games. This is ACMG Presents Talk Time Live. I am out of here. People, continue to protect and save and be the hero that they need. Take care. Of ACMG Presents Talk Time Live is brought to you in part by Viewfinder's Identity Search and Design. Your choice for web design, graphic design, and all multimedia development needs. Visit VFISAD.com and let us bring your vision to reality.